the context of Alap, the real reason that we do these events is really to see how we can create content. And when I say content, it comes also from my interest to seek out content that allows me to document not just performances, which are anyway, there's an audience for it and there are presenters who are doing it, but really to see how we can really talk about the performance, the what, why, and the how that went into actually making these things happen.
Years passed and I was a teenager. In 10th grade, standing in front of career crossroads. The biggest decision of my life. Or so everybody around you says. Arts or science? Arts or science? I was confused. So I asked my father. My father, in such a situation, had only one thing to say. But it is perhaps the most profound of thoughts that I still carry with me even today. He said, you should pursue what you want to pursue. But always remember that our family has a legacy of service towards the society. Remember, in whichever field you may work, always give back to the society all of what you have gotten, all of what you've been blessed
There is a huge effort on the outside to build something, to constantly build, rebuild, repair, get out of injury, nurture, protect, or rest even. But it's not without an internal almost goal of some kind. We're not working for the scale, you're not working for a LB, you're not working for a particular heart rate, but that work has to, for me, translate in my dance in almost an immediate way. So where instead of working from strength to dance, I'm working from dance to strength. Where in the dancing is the analysis of what the body needs, and thereby you nourish it with whatever. And I'm using strength as a very wide word. I'm not saying gym, I'm not saying Zumba, Pilates, anything that even walking is strength training. Walking over 4 hours is strength training. So it's not, no activity is exempt. The only rule is it should be more than what you do on your day to day.
To me, balance, I realized, is not a static state, but it's a dynamic process. So you see in a physical balance, it appears to be in a state of rest, but actually there is a dynamic stillness in the physical balance. So if I want to get that balance in life, I realize that it actually works very efficiently from a place of stillness. So stillness here again is not a space of rest, but it's a space of dynamic balance. So, yeah. So now again, the challenge of this juggling roles and finding a strategy to get this balance. I was not born this way, though in childhood, from childhood, I've been in, I've grown up in a very typical conventional family where you learn to sing, you learn to dance, you go to Bhagavad Gita classes, you learn, shloka recitation, and you learn this, that, and the other. So probably that is what set the tone for probably what my future was going to hold for me.
For the number of shawls, mementos in which your photo is not there, there will be either God photo or the organizer's photo, and I don't know what to do with after 10 years. I don't know what to do with it. So for the number of shawls, mementos, fruit baskets, and flower bouquets you receive, if the equivalent cash was added in our remuneration, our bank balance might have smiled back at us, but we would still not be happy. That's the truth. The A word, which is the Arangetram. But if I'm going to start, it's going to go on. I was part of one panel discussion that spoke about this. The one thing that came out of it was if the teachers kind of set this thing of, this is how in my school the idea of Arangetram will be executed, even if the child's parents are well off or not. Because the other side in that panel discussion said, if I know if my students' parents are well off, I'm going to raise the price. There was something that came from that side. And then we kind of, it's not about right, wrong, but then I think it's very important that for now, I don't want to put it on the parents, because if the teachers are going to be very clear about, in my school, this is how it's going to happen, I think a lot can change. Not the least.
In Ahmedabad, my school, Riverside, nestles beside the Sabarmati River. Later, I moved to Chennai, where Kalakshetra stands by the sea. Just as a river naturally finds its way to the sea, I too found my path leading me to Chennai. And so, I came here with a mind brimming with dreams, a heart overflowing with love and passion for the art, and a soul eager to chase the path that called me. Chennai to me is like a grandmother, never running out of stories about our history and culture. From the ancient temple walls to the graceful dance performances and the folklore shared by the elders, this city carries the weight of countless tales. The people here have much to offer, for they deeply value what they've received from their heritage. In Chennai, art is more than entertainment. It's a connection to something far beyond the surface, which is a reflection of the soul of the city. What I love most about grandparents is their ability to appreciate the small things, finding beauty in the simplest moments. And Chennai has the same discerning eye for detail, a knack of finding joy in the everyday. But like all grandparents, the city has its tough side too. It can be stubborn, opinionated, and quick to pass judgment, much like a grandmother who insists on telling you how things were back in the day, no matter how many times you've heard that story.
The other aspect I think is crucial that for me is the financial angle. So whenever I travel away for performances and for long periods of time, I'd always hear this voice echoing within me with guilt and with uncertainty. You know, can I leave them? Will they be okay with me? Without me? Will they miss me? Am I a bad mom? And I'm sure we all have these questions. And the one big question is the money that I'm making really worth the time that I'm being away from them? That, aside of having a corporate career that I could have otherwise had with my education. So, and I feel like this question that was coming from within me was much louder than what I was hearing from outside. I think from the conditioning, so many years of conditioning that, I feel my voice was the loudest of all. And it has taken me a lot of time to reason with myself and remind myself of why this is important. And it is not just, it's not like I'm choosing work over them, but I'm choosing to build something for them. And that just stepping away does not mean I'm stepping away from their lives, but I'm choosing to show them a path to follow their passion and purpose with strength.
Creation in the arts, I think, is synonymous with surrender. When I submit myself to the cosmos, align myself to its ways, and be receptive to the compassionate showers of creativity, that's when the creator in me is born. That's when I'm all set to begin my dance on page and poetry on stage. The beauty is, we never know when the skies would burst open and shower their compassionate spells of creativity. The only way out is to wait, and wait until the creative muses arrive.
As a curator, do not dictate to your artists, curate. What I mean by that is, if you go up to an artist even and tell them, Margam Adango, with live music, without live music, whatever your mandate is, do you know why you're asking that of them? Right? I've had experiences where I've been told, can you give us a title for your Margam? Actually in Sanskrit, not even in Tamil. Oh no, maybe Tamil, not English. And I really wondered, I'm like, why? I mean, it's like every production or choreography that you create, it's like you're birthing something. I'm like, I choose how I name this thing. I'm like, why is it being dictated by somebody who is inviting me to perform, right?
There are so many dances, but the opportunities to perform are limited, often confined to sabas. And even in those spaces, performances have become shorter, like T20 matches or the one-day matches. The pandemic has thrown up a new world of online teaching opportunities, and social media, especially platforms like Instagram, have reshaped how we view dance. Today, everything seems to be about that Insta minute. But here's the thing. While many dancers now create opportunities for themselves, what remains constant is their desire to share the art form with the world, to present what they believe in, and to dance with purpose. Recently, I had the honor of judging a prestigious competition for young Bharatanatyam dancers. The level of talent was exceptional, Dancers were flexible, athletic, and their technique was flawless. They must have practiced for hours and hours. But as I watched them perform, I couldn't help but think, but this is my opinion. While their performances impressed me, something was missing. Spontaneity, musicality, innocence, the gentle qualities of the dance.
There was this swara that I had created. It was a situation where the Naika, as usual, is waiting for her lover. She's getting dressed, and then she suddenly has these doubts whether he'll come back, whether he will come to her, or whether he's with somebody else. So I just composed something which goes like this. The selected raga was Kapi, because Kapi I thought gives a feel of love. Rimani pagari sani ri sani sa rima pani sari gari sani dani pamagari rimani pagari sa ni ri sani sa rima pani sari gari sani dani pamagari gama gama rima gari sa ni sa gama gama ni pagari ni sa gama gama rima gari sa ni sa gama gama ni pagari ni sa rima ni pagari. So